Hey, what's up, guys? So I want you to take a look at this clip from last March of this U.S. citizen named Sunny Naqvi after she sparked national outrage, claiming that she was detained by ICE for 43 hours upon arriving from Turkey. Take a look.
Well, the family of a local U.S. citizen is speaking out after she was detained by immigration on her way home from a work trip. The 28-year-old woman and 5 of her colleagues were taken into custody when they landed at O'Hare from Turkey. WGN's Andrea Medina has details.
The incident happened just 3 days ago. The 28-year-old woman was here today, but was still in shock, so her family spoke instead, using their voices to share her story and demand answers on why they say citizens like her are being detained by immigration.
She doesn't want this to be about her. This is about everyone that is illegally detained.
Outside the ICE facility in Broadview, Sarah Afzal speaking on behalf of her 28-year-old sister, Sunny Naqvi, who goes by Sunny. Elected officials, family members, and Sunny's attorneys stood together Sunday afternoon, sharing their account of what happened to her. Sarah says Sunny, a U.S. citizen born in Evanston, was detained by U.S. Customs and Border Protection at O'Hare International Airport, returning a flight from Turkey on Thursday, March 5th.
Detained with no cause. All she was told was that there was some, curious travel history.
Sarah says Sunny was detained at the lower level of Terminal 3 at O'Hare for nearly 30 hours, along with 5 of her colleagues, 2 of which are also U.S. citizens and 3 are green card holders. The group was originally headed to India for a work trip with a layover in Turkey, but the trip was canceled after visa issues came up while they were there. They then split up and traveled to different countries in the region, with Sunny heading to Bulgaria and Austria. The group later reunited in Turkey and flew back to Chicago Thursday morning. Sarah says instead of a routine return home, her sister and her colleagues' journey ended in detention.
The fact that this could happen to any U.S. citizen should terrify us all.
Family members say after more than a day of detention at O'Hare, Sunny's phone signal was tracked to the ICE facility in Broadview. That sparked a protest with family, community activists, and elected officials gathering outside demanding answers. But her family says federal authorities insisted she was not inside despite her phone's location. Hours later, at around 2 in the morning on Saturday, they say her phone turned back on, this time pinging from the Dodge ICE facility in Wisconsin. Yet again, her family says federal authorities there denied she was being held, even as the phone's location told a different story.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause this clip for a short second because this woman is so diabolical, so deceptive. And if you thought this started and ended with ICE and detention centers, you're totally wrong. Because this story does a complete 180 that involves a romance scam, $25,000 in cash, and a $10,000 tax return.
We know she was there because we kept showing the location, and it was right in the middle of the facility. And they were like, we don't know what to tell you. And then we get a phone call while we're standing in the place.
It was Sunny on the other end of the line. Sarah says Sunny told her she had been released and walked from the ICE facility to a nearby gas station around 5 a.m. From there, Sarah says a stranger offered Sunny a ride, taking her to a hotel where her family could finally reunite with her.
It's really scary to be like just trusting a stranger in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, to meet up with your family, but we were able to find her.
Bringing an end to a long, confusing ordeal and relief to Sunny's family, who had been waiting days to hear. All Sunny now wants is to shine a light on what happened so no one else has to go through the same nightmare.
Demanding that all of our Congress members, no matter what party they are, push back in this moment to get full information released on why they were detained, why we were continuously lied to, and what steps they're going to take to ensure this never happens again.
Okay, so that was the energy coming from the left after the story sparked national outrage about a U.S. citizen wrongfully detained by ICE for 43 hours. And it turns out this was all a hoax. It was all an elaborate scheme made up by this 28-year-old woman. Now I'm going to play you a clip of the Dodge County Sheriff as he explains what this woman did. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to talk about how this all ties in with a romance scam. But before that, guys, these videos do take some time to make. So if you want to show some support, please do leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Or if you want to further support this channel, you can join and become a channel member.
That is right, Cheryl. Today, the Dodge County Sheriff said Sunny Naqvi's story was made up, and he's demanding action accountability for what he calls lies.
Sunny Naqvi was not detained by ICE at any time. She was not transported to Broadview Detention Facility. She was not transported across state lines to Dodge County, by law enforcement anyway. She was not in the custody of the Dodge County Sheriff's Office.
Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt in his lawsuit outlining what he calls a hoax allegedly carried out by 28-year-old Sunny Naqvi. Naqvi's supporters spoke out last month after the Evanston native claimed she was detained at O'Hare Airport by Customs and Border Protection for 30 hours. Her family says she was then sent to the ICE detention facility in Broadview and later transported to a facility in Dodge County, Wisconsin, where they said she was released Saturday, March 7th. According to the lawsuit, Sheriff Schmidt says Naqvi was actually staying at a hotel near O'Hare and allegedly sent text messages from her room.
She checked into the Hampton Inn and Suites in Rosemont, Illinois for the entire duration of this alleged event. Travel from the Hampton Inn and Suites in Illinois to the Holiday Inn Express in Beaver Dam was done to complete this hoax. She scammed a victim out of thousands of dollars in pursuit of this hoax against the federal government and the Dodge County Sheriff's Office.
During the sheriff's news conference, he displayed what he says are messages from Naqvi at the time she claims she was in custody. One message says, quote, "Going to look into this hotel." Another says, "In the room now." And then there's this image also shown at the press conference in which the sheriff says Naqvi was spotted at a store in Wisconsin during the time she says she was being held by Dodge County officials. Sheriff Schmidt says this isn't Naqvi's first time lying to law enforcement. Court records confirm a 2019 case in which Naqvi filed a false police report with Skokie PD claiming she was sexually assaulted in a park. She pleaded guilty and did 2 years of probation, and the case was then dismissed. The sheriff personally suing Naqvi for her alleged defamatory claims against his office. The sheriff also suing Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison for defamation. Morrison held a press conference on behalf of Naqvi last month.
They asked for Sunny's phone number so they could search the facility for her phone. About 10 minutes later, the phone opened, text messages were read, and the phone was turned off, and we lost her location.
The Dodge County Sheriff said while the situation is disturbing and defamatory, no laws were broken in Wisconsin, so they cannot file criminal charges. We have reached out to Sunny Naqvi and her family for comment on the allegations and the lawsuit. We have not heard back. Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison said, quote, "It is my understanding that a lawsuit has been filed. I have not seen it, and if a suit has in fact been filed, I cannot comment on pending litigation." The Dodge County Sheriff said Naqvi was detained at O'Hare by Customs and Border Protection, but for a little over an hour, not 30 hours as she claimed. Customs and Border Protection told us that at the time she was flagged for additional inspection based on law enforcement checks. The story continues to unravel, and so many questions as to why some of these allegations took place.
Okay, so you can't make this up. This woman actually has a history of making BS allegations when she claimed that she was SA'd years ago. And imagine being this stupid to actually think that in this day and age where there's surveillance and cell phone location technology, that you would be able to claim that you were somewhere that you actually weren't. Also, I find it funny that we haven't heard anything from the mainstream media about this story after they gave it so much attention. Okay, so now I want to get into the personal romance scam part of the story because it is just so crazy. You guys have to listen to this. So this woman, Sunny Naqvi, she allegedly used a personal romance scam on an ex-boyfriend to extract money while planning and executing the hoax. She convinced her ex-boyfriend to give her over $25,000 in just 1 month. This included paying for her flight to Turkey, giving her his entire $12,000 tax return, taking out a $3,000 loan, and maxing out a $3,000 credit limit. So not only did this guy give her money, he also borrowed money to give it to her. This guy is even more dumber than I thought. She allegedly used the money to fund her lifestyle, the trip to Turkey, and elements of the fake detention narrative, including getting him to drive her or help stage parts of the story. So not only did this guy give her money, but he also, was a driver. He was the one, I guess, who drove her from Illinois to Wisconsin. And now she has a $1 million defamation lawsuit filed by the Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Okay, so I found an article about this story, and it reads, "The biggest break in the investigation came when Schmidt interviewed the ex-boyfriend, who he said approached the sheriff and provided text messages from Naqvi. Schmidt said it remains unclear why Naqvi, a Pakistani American born in Illinois, claimed she was held by ICE. In quotes, he said, "For the life of me, I can't figure out why someone would do that. I'll tell you why. Because she's a deranged leftist. And this is what these people do. They make up BS. And this time it caught up to her. She was trying to make ICE and Trump look bad by making false claims. And truth be told, this stuff does happen. US citizens are wrongfully detained and deported sometimes. Mistakes happen. This happened in the Trump administration, but it also happened in the Biden and Obama administration. But leftists will leave that part out. But the best part about this article is that, the $12,000 he gave to her, listen to the reason why he gave this money to her. So it says the boyfriend told Schmidt that in addition to the 12,000 he gave Naqvi to travel to Turkey, he took out a $3,000 loan and maxed out his credit card 3,000, giving that money to her too. Part of it apparently paid for a medical procedure in Turkey, Schmidt said, but he did not know the nature of the procedure. So she scammed her ex-boyfriend all for, to live out her life and for a medical procedure. You can't make this stuff up. Anyways, guys, if you enjoy this video, please do leave a like, comment, or subscribe, or I'll see you on the next one.